Hello and welcome to Wreck and Rule. Now, if you were lucky, you've managed to get your hands onto the two-player Autobot starter set, whether you were at Gen Con, whether you had a buddy at Gen Con, whether you have eBayed one for probably a little bit more than you'd like to pay, but you just can't wait. You've got that starter set, you've got them sleeved, you found some special sleeves for the character cards, and you're itching to go. I want to talk a little bit today about some of the characters that you get in this starter set. So, some disclaimers first. I am by no means any type of expert. I have a handful of games under my belt. I've picked up a couple of techniques or tactics here that I think work out pretty well, and I'd like to maybe throw them out to you guys, have you test them out, have you try them, and give some feedback, if at all possible. What I want to focus on today specifically is going to be on both Ironhide and Red Alert. Now, there's been some disappointment expressed in the Facebook group about the fact that some of the characters, and maybe these two characters in particular, don't have any special rule stack. So here's them in vehicle mode, and here's them in bot mode. And some people have pointed out that maybe rather than have that empty box, just kind of leave that blank for that full art concept, but we have to deal with what we have. I do think that these two characters are being dismissed a little bit too easily. I think they've got some very, very good uses, even if they don't have any special abilities associated with them. So, I want to begin today by taking a look at Ironhide first. So, with Ironhide, there are a few things that really stand out. The very first one, and probably the most important one, is that his vehicle mode defense of 3 is the highest defense in that Autobot starting set without putting upgrades on the characters and without keeping in mind something in like Tough, where you get to flip over extra cards while defending. So Ironhide in his truck mode here has that defense of 3. Now, something that's a little bit surprising, if you remember Ironhide from the cartoon, is that he only has that 7 health there. He was a character that could take a bruising and he could keep on hitting back. But it seems as if they're showing that in-game with that 3 defense. Another thing that's notable about Ironhide is that he is the only character where his attack type switches from vehicle mode to robot mode, at least in this starting spread of characters. So as a truck, he attacks via melee. In robot mode, he attacks with ranged. That could potentially come up in the future if there's certain upgrades, weapons most likely, that can only be equipped to a melee character. So what I like about Ironhide is that 3 defense gives you a really good starting point to use him as that opening character that you attack with. Because that first character that you choose to tap and choose to attack with is going to be the only character that your opponent is going to be able to target on their next turn until you take an additional turn and then you untap another character. Now, chances are that they're going to try to focus down damage onto that first character that you tap with and that you attack with. While those characters they attack with don't have a ton of upgrades yet, Ironhide is that good opening target to throw out there because it's going to be somewhat tricky unless they either get a really powerful upgrade like a grenade launcher, or unless they get very, very lucky with flipping over damage cards to push through that 3 defense and put out significant damage. Now, the danger with that is that Ironhide does only have 7 health. So if they get a really good opening hand, or they luck into some good cards when they draw later, there is the potential that Ironhide gets wiped off the board. But the flip side is that if that does happen, at least that's damage that went on to Ironhide versus a character that is going to be a stronger attacker later. So looking here in his bot mode, his attack does jump up a little bit to 4, which is good. His defense is still a pretty decently respectable 2, which is about average for what we've seen so far in robot mode, or in some cases better than average. Some upgrades that are good to put onto Ironhide. So one thing you might want to do is you might want to maximize kind of that tankiness. So one thing you can put on him is Improvised Shield, which again is in the starter set. It gives you tough 1. When you defend, you get to flip over 1 more card. You're hoping to get either into some white pips, which allow you to flip over 2 additional cards the first time you see them, or you're hoping to get some blue pips to up your defense there. Another good one is armor plating. So armor plating kind of just gives you that basic +1 defense. You don't have to worry about flipping over blue cards. It is just always there. So in that case, you're starting off with 4 defense in that truck mode, which is one of the higher defenses compared to like other characters that we've seen out there. 4 defense is pretty respectable without having to worry about flipping over into more blue pips. Another good card to put onto Ironhide would be Piercing Blaster. So Piercing Blaster gives you Pierce 3. You get to do at least 3 damage when you attack, but not more than your damage total. This is really, really good with him in his vehicle mode, because you want to attack with him in vehicle mode, because in that case he's going to have that 3 defense. He also has that 3 attack in vehicle mode. So you know that when you attack with Ironhide that you will definitely be pushing through that 3 damage, no questions asked. On top of that, you can get a surprise turn by using Plasma Burst. So this is an action. It's one of the cards that you get to play before you have to attack with a character, and you just flat out do a straight 2 damage to an enemy. So right there, between the 2 of these, during Ironhide's turn, when you choose to tap with him and attack with him, he's going to push through 5 damage. That could be an unexpected burst of damage that kills a character before they get to activate him. I want to talk now a little bit about Red Alert. So Red Alert is the other generic character you get. He's also only 6 stars, the same as Ironhide was. So in car mode, nothing really stands out here. He's got that 3 attack, he's got that 2 defense, and that's equivalent to what you get with Prime in vehicle mode or with Bumblebee in vehicle mode. Something that is notable is that Red Alert has that 10 health, which puts him on par with Prime as the highest health characters that you get in that starter. What does stand out about Red Alert is he's got this 5 attack while he's in robot mode. On the flip side, though, is that in robot mode, he goes down to 0 defense. So whatever damage your opponent puts out there is just going to be soaked up by him unless you get lucky with some blue pips as you start flipping cards over while defending. Something that has been pointed out by Drew Carlson, who is one of the more prolific posters in the Facebook group, is that this is a little bit odd for Red Alert to be your kind of glass cannon, high attack fighter. He never really was that back in the cartoon. He was kind of dorky, a little bit paranoid, not really a big, action hero superstar. So it's possibly somewhat likely that this was meant to be Sideswipe at first. Because Sideswipe is known as being a bruiser. He's an attacker. He hits hard. He's one of the Autobots' best warriors. But another possibility is that if you look at that opening character spread, Optimus Prime, red is his primary color. Ironhide, red is his primary color. They may not have one of 3 of those starting characters who have that same primary red color, just to make it a little bit easier to differentiate between them as you see them on the battlefield. So with Red Alert, obviously, that 5 attack is going to be one of the bigger things that we're looking for. He's a great character, especially early on, to start putting some damage onto your opponent. The only problem is that if you choose to attack with him early, you are leaving him open to be hit back. Now, you probably want to transform him into robot mode and then attack with him. In later turns, you can transform him back into car mode in order to maybe lessen some of that damage coming in, because then you'll be with that 2 starting defense. Some things that are useful with the Red Alert. One of them is rapid conversion. So this allows you to kind of flip him into car mode if you want to also flip one of your other characters into another mode. So if you attack with Red Alert, he's in that robot mode, he's tapped, he's open to being attacked. This is something that you can use on a later turn to flip him back into car mode while also maybe flipping Prime into robot mode so that he gets that bold 1 and he's a little bit stronger at attacking. you don't have to choose one or the other. It gives you the option to transform both. Another good one is Ready for Action. This is especially good kind of earlier on. You can attack with Red Alert before a lot of characters have powerful upgrades out there. Attack with Red Alert. Next turn, when it comes around to you, you can play this card. You can untap Red Alert. So that does two good things for you. For one, you are able to use him to attack again during that round. The other good thing that it does is it shields him from being attacked by your opponent. Because presumably by that point you're going to be attacking with another character. That new character that you attacked with will become the new target of their attacks if you can untap Red Alert, which will protect him from being attacked by your opponent. Another strong card is one that was just spoiled by Drew Nolasco. Sorry if I mispronounced that. On the Facebook group, Drew is kind of the lead face of the Transformers TCG, and he's been doing a great job by showing a lot of cool stuff to us ahead of time, spoiling cards like this. So this is a card, it can only be put onto cards. So it says here, when you put onto a character, you untap that character. So this is great to put onto Red Alert because for one, it gives you that +1 attack. It's a utility, so you can also put a weapon onto him to up his attack even more. And it allows you to get that kind of double attack, that double tap with Red Alert. That 5 starting attack is pretty strong, especially if you luck into more orange pips when you flip your cards over while attacking, or if you have a weapon on him. And so taking a look here, guys, this is the major points I wanted to get out there today. So play those games. If you have a chance to try some of these techniques out, please post below. If you can, please subscribe and let us know if there's any other content that you would like to see out there. Good luck and enjoy your gaming.